Hello, this is Katie, and I just wanted to create a simple Copic blending video coming from someone who makes cards, and I do feel like there may be a lot of them out there, but maybe this can just add to it, or just to keep it simple. I don't know how many pretty simple basic coloring tutorials are out there. I haven't looked. But hoping this can help. So I have stamped some images and I've come up with a handful of my favorite combinations. So let's get started. I have the hex chart by Sandy Allnock. I believe there may have been more colors added since this. This is what I have. I also just bought R39 in a combo that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to color that one in here. I'm kind of slacking in the red corner, so I should probably find more of those. Sandy created this chart as a way to help you find things that blend, so you don't have to base it off of just the numbers. So I'm pretty sure everyone has one of these. And then there's also an app to keep track of Copic markers. I'm sure you can find it pretty easily. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but there's an app to keep track of the ones you have so that you don't have to like bring this or remember to bring it when you go shopping in person. But I'm going to I use this as a guide, but for example, my favorite purple combo I'm going to be showing you on a witch hat is V09, V17, and V15. I don't know what V17 looks like because I don't have it, but I found that these combos I'm going to show you work for me. So I'm going to set this aside, but I do recommend getting that, and I printed it on like 60-pound Michael's white cardstock. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and we'll just get started on our first one. So this is from L'Enfant Booyah. It's one of the hats for the ghosts, and I wanted to show you. This is the, if you're new here, awesome, hello, and welcome. And if you're not, and you've been watching my Halloween series, this is my go-to purple combo for like the witch hats or the witch outfits and stuff like that I did all month long. So this one, my markers, you can tell, are a combo of Copic Chow and Sketch. There are Copic Originals, which Jen Shirkus actually uses in her class. They are a square barrel. They probably have a little more ink in them. The Sketch have a little more than this Chow. These are more expensive. These are less expensive in comparison to each other. And these are oval. They don't roll. Physical preference is really nothing to me. It's really just wherever I buy them, whatever they have. One of my favorite stores has only these, and the other store has only these. So it's really just what I get. So these will roll, but they do have like a little stopper. And then they have two ends. They have what is called a medium broad, which is kind of like a highlighter size. And then they have the brush tip, which I will be using. I do not use this end. I think this is maybe more for like comic book artists or a different type of artist than card making colorers. And then I'll also be covering with you, I think I'll do it on this one, how I use the colorless blender, and another suggestion for how to use it as well. So my way of coloring, there's two. I'm sure there are many different ways to color, but in the way that I'm going to talk about it, there are two different ways to blend. So mine is to start with the darkest marker, and this is very inky on the tip. I just keep alcohol swabs, alcohol thingies nearby. I'm just going to wipe this off so it's not so inky. You can clean your markers however you wish. I have yet to refill. I think the one marker that ever dried out on me, I just bought a replacement. They have re-inkers, and there are a handful of videos here on YouTube that show you can just re-ink through the tip. So you have like a little barrel that basically looks like this. It's a little fatter, and it's just full of the same color ink. And you just kind of drip it into the tip. You can also do it through the back one, I think, just so it's not so difficult to do. But I am kind of dreading the day that I have to buy one of those, so we'll see how that goes. So I've got my darkest purple, V09, and I kind of just, this is using the brush tip, I kind of just brush it in from the sides, and you've got kind of a flicking motion so that you get that look. And this is going to help the way that it looks when it's blended as well, as opposed to just cutting it off with a straight line. It's not going to look as good when it's blended. So then I take my next one, V17, the second darkest, and go over the original dark color and then also flick out some and try and blend that line where they meet. So you're going over the dark again, which helps blend out. And this may not have been a big enough hat to leave room for my third color, but you can also blend with 2 colors. You don't need 3. And then I will again go over the dark but flick out. Then I'll take V15, my lightest, and again go back to the darkest and drag that out. And then go back to the darkest corner on the other side and blend that out. And you can just keep blending until it looks good. And then I'll show you one more tip as well on the bottom there. But you want to go over the dark and kind of drag it into the center. The alcohol is kind of helping lighten that dark a little bit, which is making it blend. So you've got that, and then what you can do is take your lightest and go to the next darkest. So I have my V15 and V17. You can take the tip of your lightest and just borrow some of the darker tip to tip and bring it in here to blend, and that helps you even more. So if you find that you're having a hard time blending, unless you just keep coloring with your lightest, which is the other option, you can just tip your lightest to your second or your next darkest, and then you have some on there and they work together. So that's another tip for blending. And then right here, I just went out a little bit. So I mainly honestly use my colorless blender. Don't be fooled by the dyed tip. It's not gonna be blue. But you take this and you can kind of just push, you can color it a little bit, but you want to push where you colored out of the lines. Just kind of hold it there for a couple seconds. Kind of push it back into the edge. And then you can get rid of those parts where you went out, and then that will dry as well. So it'll look kind of wet, like it's going to make the paper be see-through, but that'll dry too because it's also alcohol. You can also use this, let's say you're coloring like a ghost on Halloween and you just use one gray for kind of the edges. You can use this to blend that out so it doesn't look like such a harsh, gray line. You can use your colorless blender to blend things out like that. So that is an example of my purple combo. And then let's do, so I have a pumpkin and my favorite pumpkin coloring combo from my my Halloween series as well. So my favorite combo, I've written them here for you, and this is also from Hello Bluebird Halloween Party. I wanted you to know where the sentiment or the image was from if you wanted to know. And then the 3 markers that I'm using, darkest to lightest. So I chose YR07 as my darkest orange, and I'm gonna flick that in from the edges. This is a spherical thing, so it's probably gonna have its light in the center. We'll also cover a little bit of shadowing and where to put your dark colors. I'm not a professional at shadowing, but I'm going to show you on a Christmas tree. Then I have YR16. Another good, let's see, that's a little too light. So yeah, this is my favorite combo. Then I have YR16. I'm going back over the YR07 and bringing in my YR16. You can do that a few times. Now the other option of coloring that I was talking about that I don't do, that some people do choose to do, is to color the whole image in their lightest color. So in this case with YR15, they would color in the whole pumpkin first. You'll notice a lot of card making YouTubers do it this way. Then they start, you know, they're dark on the sides and they'll blend out with the next darkest and then use the YR15 in this scenario. Again, to blend it all. They like to coat the image in the lightest color first. I don't do it that way. I don't know. I think it's just, in my mind, it's an extra step that I don't need to do. And I get the results that I want with the way that I do it. So, again, we're using the lightest. We're going over the whole pumpkin from darkest to second darkest to lightest. Both directions. You can probably move a little slower so you're not going out of the lines like me. So then we've got our blended pumpkin. Again, you can clean up those going out of the lines marks with your colorless blender. So that is my pumpkin shading combo. Then I wanted to show you, we'll do some hair. So I have grays, and some people have their favorite types of grays, but Lawn Fawn basically has, there could be more at this point, but I'm pretty sure they have cool, warm, and neutral. So I've got some cool grays, some neutral, which I did buy in the Artist's Loft brand. The only thing I have from them other than one peach color for a skin tone is the set of the ends. There's 6 total. But I don't have any neutrals in Copic, and so I wanted to test out those markers by doing it that way. And then I have a few warm grays. So the 2 that I'm going to use to show you on Mrs. Claus hair, she's from Lawn Fawn. Not Lawn Fawn, I'm so sorry. I think, yeah, it's Mama Elephant. I wrote LF, and I shouldn't have done that. My Christmas tree is from there as well. So it's Mama Elephant Cozy Christmas. Mrs. Claus is from. So I wanted to show you, I'm going to use just 2 tones for her hair. Maybe actually 3. I didn't grab my C3 before. So I'm going to grab that. And then another thing I wanted to talk about with you is how I store my markers. This is just, I have a bucket, like a shoebox, plastic shoebox of them. They're all on their side. I never have a problem with them, you know, drying out or anything like that. And it keeps me, it kind of keeps my mind awake when I have to just kind of hunt for colors. And I'll just look through the end like this because I can see some of them that way. So I'll look at both ends to find a color I'm looking for. But I do not have like an ideal Copic storage at the moment, but this works for me. And I don't have a lot of space, so they're just in a shoebox right now. I have C1. There's my C3. It's in the middle. When they get caught in the middle, it's hard to find. So we'll do a 3 blend here. I'm going to show you hair on 3 images. I'll set this one aside for a second. I couldn't fit her on here. So for Mrs. Claus, I'm going to just do a little C7 at the top, and then on the top edge there, and then a little coming out from the corners and down the edge there. I don't want too much of the dark. Then I'm going to take C5. I'll see if I can zoom in even more. I don't want to get too close. C5, again, come out from the corner to blend with the dark as well. And just kind of flick it out using the brush tip. Then we will use our C3 and fill in the rest. So then we're going over all of it, the darkest, and also filling in the white space. And then going over the darkest again. And filling in that white space too. And then you can just keep coloring over it and keep blending. And then you can get rid of any harsh lines, and you can use it to make it a little bit darker as well. So that is our gray blend with C7, C5, and C3. Okay, and then I have to pause for just a second. Okay, and then I wanted to show you two with the same colors but on two different characters. I'll do this one next, but I'll be using E29, E37, and E35 for the hair. So I want to just put some dark here around the edges and then coming out of the little tips. So just a little bit there, and then we've got E37, the next one up, and then again go over it, over the dark one, and just take it a little bit further. And the witch I'm going to show you next has kind of more of a realistic hair look, so I'll show you how I blend that one as well. Then we're on to E35, the lightest, again going over all of it that we've already colored and filling in the white. And then just take your time blending with the lightest color, because you want to make sure that those harsher lines are blended out, and just kind of paint with the tip to the flow of the hair. And then you've got a neat little brunette blend with those colors. And then on the witch, that was from Lawn Fun Fairy Friends, is where she's from. This one is from My Favorite Things, Which Way is the Candy? I stamped a portion of her. It actually looks kind of cool because I just wanted her hair, and my paper that I cut wasn't big enough. But I'm going to use E29, just coming down from under her hat where it would be more shadowy. And then on the tips a little bit, and then over her shoulders and down in this corner. So just kind of look for the edges, basically, or where shadows would be hiding, coming out from her neck and under her face. Then we've got E37. So again, we'll go over the darkest and then bring that out a little bit. This is another witch hat that I really liked coloring with those purples. There's a little more space for blending three colors on that one. So we're just bringing some of the second color up as well. Okay, then we have our E35 going over the darkest and filling in the white area. And if you are someone who likes to color in the whole area, I am going outside the lines a little bit here into her face. So again, you can use your Copic Copic blender for that. It's number 0. If you want to color her whole hair in the lightest and then work from there, that is fine too. That probably works better for some people as just as a process. It might make more sense to them. So then we have some highlight where some light might be coming onto her hair, or her hair is just colored that way, since that's a more realistic hairdo and people have highlights, and so you can play around with that as well. And then we have 2 more cards, 3 more images technically. I'm going to show you a little Lawn Fawn Winter Village is what that was supposed to say. That's from Winter Village. This is from the Mama Elephant Cozy Christmas, and I'm going to be using, I'm going to put the rest of these away, G28, G07, and G05. So for this one, it's a little bit easier for me to color upside down. So I'm going to be dragging in some color from the bottom. There are probably a couple different ways you could color this. Now you might have the darkest coming in, and this image may be a little confusing by the time we're done, but I'm going to show you 2 different options. Darkness coming from the bottom or coming out from under, which is probably more of the realistic shadowing option, where the dark would be under here. Okay, so I'll do 2. I'll just do these 2 bottom ones with you. I'll use G07 next. We will go back over and blend up. I think this combo is a great Christmas tree combo. I could probably use a few more greens in my chart, but I do love kind of bright Christmassy greens. So we'll go over this one coming up from the bottom, and then we'll cover coming down from above. Again, probably the more realistic shadowing on a tree with layers. And then G05 as our lightest. We will come up here and again go over the darkest all the way up to help blend out those lines. Okay. And just run over it a few times and you'll see those, you know, those harsh lines disappear. And if you still want to do more blending, just keep going over it with that lightest color. Then from this one going downward, you want to cover your darkest again. And then bring your lightest color down. So on a Christmas tree, the probably more realistic shading is going to be the one where it's a little bit darker under and goes out to show light on it. But that's what it would look like backwards. So your shading, your darkers would be here, under here, and under here, and then going down you would go lighter and lighter. And then, so using that example, or that explanation, on the little tree, we have our G28 underneath and along the bottom. Then you've got G07. Blend up a little bit. This one I do in little circles, usually when it's something kind of shaped like this. And then our lightest, G05, we will blend, and then you can just basically color, in this case, the rest of the tree with that. You could probably do that with this tree as well. So you notice you've still got some harsh lines, and I'm seeing some coloring done this way. All you have to do is just keep going with your lightest marker and keep blending it out. Then you still got your shading, but then it looks a little more blended there. So that is for that combo for the Christmas trees. I'm going to pause really quick. I'll be right back. Okay, so I have maybe 4 more minutes to show you. This is the last image. Honestly, this will be the first time I am using R39 in this combo, but everyone has been using it. And I had R59 and R29. So we're going to look at a spherical image that would have, we're just going to blend like that for the handle, but then using the paintbrush flicks inward, kind of following the shape of the mug. You can flick this way, or you can just turn it and color however you prefer. Then we have our brand new R39 that I just got. Again, going over the dark and also still trying to kind of flick into the center. And then blending out for the handle as well. The middle of the handle is going to be the lightest. We'll pretend that the light would shine on that too. Then we have our 29 as the lightest shade, so we will fill in and blend that out. Then we will cover this, again covering the coloring we already did and filling in the white. Then we'll turn it and do that again. And you don't necessarily have to use the tip of the marker. You can press it down a little bit and get a wider pattern from it. And then just keep blending. With your lightest color. And then if you still want to blend, again, we can use that technique where I'll take from the R39 with the R29, take from the tip to kind of help that middle blend even better, or fill in any spots you might have missed. Alright, so put that one back on and that one. So then you've got kind of your spherical blend as well. Hopefully you can see that in the light. And you can do the same with the inside. In this case, for this set, there's like a cocoa and stuff that you can put in there. So anyway, those are my tips. They are not professional by any means, but hopefully that helped some of you out to kind of practice with your coloring or to get into Copics if you haven't yet, and maybe you just want to buy a few color combos. Hopefully those worked out for you. If you have any questions for me, just leave them below. I'll link my Instagram below too, and you can follow me there if you want. And I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.